Today is Saturday, January 17th. 17th. I just ate half a box of these. I probably already ate enough, but I still was a little hungry. So the food bank gave me I went to 2. They gave me 5 boxes of cereal. And I can get these once a month. So, I didn't need to eat this, but I still was kind of hungry. I was actually doing pretty good not eating way too much and eating somewhat healthy, and then I got a bunch of sugar cereal from not the soup kitchen, the food pantry. Okay, anyways. I also, I just basically ate food from the food pantry today. None of the stuff that needs a can opener, which is most of the things I wanted to eat. So I ate a couple cans of soup, and actually, I ate more than I needed to. I had a bunch of snacks from the soup kitchen too, and then I had some snack bars and all types of things. You guys don't need to know. There was Cheez-Its and Fig Newton things, and I ate way more than enough. I'll just say that. So anyways, today was Saturday, and it is Sabbath, and it should have been a day that I just relax and sleep in, and I don't have to get up. It used to be this. It used to be a day that I did not have to leave my house. Not anymore. Not anymore. Because apparently they have church on Saturday too. There's church on Saturday too. Now, I've signed up for any mission that God wants to give me. But half of my life is going to church, apparently. I don't like to go to church. Okay, but I will do the mission. Okay. I don't like to go to church, but they actually have good messages. Sometimes I learn things, and I meet people, and I do interesting things that I guess is better than just sitting at home alone. But the dogs they knocked a bunch of trash all over the floor and ripped up my warm gloves. They were getting into stuff while I was gone. Sarah! So, yesterday, I know when there's something I'm supposed to go to, because it's mentioned in a certain way, it's a direct invitation, or it's said, right when I'm there on purpose, so then I know I have to go to these things and their missions. And it was a mission again, okay? So, instead of being able to sleep in and relax, which I really wanted to do, I didn't get enough sleep. Then I had to get up and go to a coffee house. They had, it was supposed to be some poetry thing between 11 and 2. So I had to get up at 10 o'clock. And I just wanted to sleep. I didn't want to go, but I actually kind of wanted to go to this coffee shop. I hadn't been there before. They close early. So I did want to go. But since it's Sabbath, I could not buy or sell. I'm also broke. So I couldn't even buy the coffee. So there were several things going on. There was a mission from the kingdom of darkness, and then there was a mission from God there. So I paid my entrance fee. I had to get up without enough sleep, and it was cold, and I was tired, and I'm still sick, and I had to bike up the hill. I don't even know how cold it is, because it's not telling me. It's not telling me the temperature. Oh, it's 13 degrees. It is 13 degrees. Yeah, it was really cold coming home. This is the only good thing about Microsoft, is now it tells me the temperature sometimes. But I don't even need that, because Firefox tells you the temperature too. It is 13 degrees. Oh shoot, what's it going to be tomorrow? Well, it looks like it's going to get colder. Okay, that's nice. So it was really cold today. And when you're on a bicycle, it's a lot colder than when you walk, because you're going fast and there's a lot of wind. So it would be fine to walk, but it's really cold on the bike. And then when you breathe, like the air, it's very drying and irritates the sinus. Anyways, I had to go to the coffee house because I was invited. I was invited to go to the coffee house, and it was from 11 to 2. Um, and So I show up not knowing what to expect. I wanted to be inside the coffee house, but I couldn't buy any coffee. So I was smelling the coffee that I wanted that I couldn't buy, and I was smelling food that was usually, it's mostly pork, but I can't buy or sell anyways. So I was getting hungry, and I smelled coffee I wanted, and I wasn't allowed to have any of it. Then I go in, and I see the man from the recovery meetings. Now, this man I did not think was a bad person. Well, not most. A lot of people at the recovery meeting have tried to give me cursed items and do witchcraft spells on me. And they were shut down. Now, I don't know how many people there are witches, but there's quite a few. I don't know how many yet, because I haven't been going. Normally one will try to get me, or two each time. So there's maybe 20 people. I don't know how many of them are witches. But let's see. There was a man who started coming he wasn't there the first time I went, and he seemed like a nice person, but you could tell he was in withdrawal, and he was having trouble with his addiction. And I don't think the group was really helping. And then I mentioned playing guitar could help me. He seemed better the next week, and then he was gone. And then I saw him at a different meeting, and he actually, instead of going to the recovery meeting, he stayed home and he cooked some steak and stuff, and he made some food for himself because he was a little sick. So that's a good thing. But then anyways, I went to the coffee house, and then right as you walk in, there was 2 comfortable chairs. There was a bunch of wood chairs, but you walk in, there's 2 kind of sofa type chairs, and they're sitting next to each other. He is sitting in one. And I'm like, oh, I walk in, and he's kind of by the entrance. He's I don't know, about 10 feet from the entrance or something. And I'm like, oh, hello, because I know this person now. Not very well, but they just seem like they're a nice person, but they're having trouble with their getting over this addiction they have. I think it's alcohol, I'm not sure. But he has never been rude to me or cursed me yet. So, but I don't trust anyone. And sometimes it's a good person can do a bad thing, and then they try to curse me, and then they don't do it again. So I don't know. But anyways, he was sitting there, and I'm like, oh, do you mind if I sit here? Or I walked in, I said, well, you might not want me to sit next to you. I said, you might not want me to sit here. He's like, oh, go ahead. And then I sat there. And then this event was supposed to be from 11 to 2. I showed up pretty much at 11. And he was just sitting there. So when you walk in, there was 2 comfortable chairs. And he was at the one further from the door, and there was one right next to him. And I sat down. And then I'm waiting for this thing to start. And it's not starting. It's not starting. And then I had luckily just got a few pieces of newspaper when I was at the soup kitchen. I don't do this. I never do this. But a couple days ago at the soup kitchen, I was looking at a newspaper, and I opened it up to see if they had puzzles and things in it, because sometimes I like the crosswords and the Sudoku. And there was. So then I took those 2 pages out, folded them, and put them in my bag. Thank God, because I used those today. I swear, I sat there for an hour and a half in the chair. It was a comfortable chair, I'm saying. But I sat there for an hour and a half, thinking, maybe they'll start the event later. But maybe they just don't start right at 11. It's just between 11 and 2. And then I get out my crossword and my stuff, and I'm doing the puzzles and the word scrambles and things. And then I realize what this is. And the man sitting next to me, I realized what this is. This was another attempt. They are trying to get me in a relationship. And I get hit on by these people that I don't know, maybe a couple, but most of them, they do not like me. They're sent on assignment. They're sent on assignment to try to tie me down. So they don't even want to ask me on their own. They are sent from the kingdom of darkness to ask me out. Now none of their attempts have worked. They have sent, like, I don't know, 18 men and 2 women. I don't know. Maybe this is a little off. I'm just guessing. And they didn't for a long time. And then it was like every day a new one. And then a short break. And then they're doing it again. And so I figured this was. Whenever they approach me, whenever they ask or mention something, it doesn't work. So this time, he was just sitting in the chair. And then I sat in the chair right next to him, because all the other chairs were wood, and they were hard. These chairs were soft. And so he was sitting in the chair, and then I sat in the chair next to him. And then I waited a couple minutes, and nothing's happening. So I get out my crossword, and I start doing these puzzles. And then I realize, oh no, this is what. And then later on, I actually looked. There was a woman sitting on this couch, which was kind of an uncomfortable looking couch. But she was sitting, and I was. She would have been able. She was maybe 20 feet away, and then I think this woman was watching us to see if I did anything. So when they had people just ask me out or try to intimidate me, it didn't work. So this time they just had a man, and he was sitting in the chair. He was just sitting in that chair right next to me, did not say anything, did not hit on me. He didn't even really talk. I initiated the conversation just to be polite. I'm like, oh, hello, I've seen you a few times. So maybe you might not want me to sit here. He's like, oh, go ahead. I'm like, okay. And then I sit down and waiting, and then this event never starts. And then we're still sitting here. And he doesn't say anything. He doesn't say anything to me. I know what this is, though, and I see the woman over there, and I think she was watching. No, that's not going to work either. How many times do I have to tell you guys? But usually if God gives them karma, so all these people that are sent get karma from the Lord. I don't know what will happen to this guy, cause he did not ask me out. He did not act interested. And I don't even think this was his idea, so I don't know. He was just sitting there. But to me, it was clear what this was. He was just sitting there. He didn't even talk to... He was looking... I think he was looking at his phone. I didn't really look, but I could kind of tell. I think he was just looking at his phone. And I was doing these crosswords, and then I got a little nervous for a minute. Oh, no. This is another test. This is another... They're trying to... No, that's not going to work either. Okay? But anyways, I don't know. God knows what I don't. But maybe this is the only one that does not need to get karma, because he seriously, didn't even say anything to me and didn't want to be there. I'm just going to say. And we just talked a little at the beginning, he said he had never been there. I've never been there. And then just that was it. And then it never started. And then after some period of time, I'm like, oh, I guess it looks like they're not doing anything. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm probably going to head out here in a minute. And then I sneezed, and then I was getting up to leave, and he left. He left then. So he didn't want to be there. So he had to stay there until I got up and left. And so then I'm like, oh, nothing's going on. And he's like, yeah, I'm probably going to leave here in a minute. So he didn't talk to me. He didn't look at me. He didn't do anything. But he was sent there and told to sit in this chair. Like maybe I have some weird fetish where it has to be a beta male that does not initiate. I don't know. I'm not going out with any of you. But I know what this was. Now they can deny it all they want. But to me it was clear. Now, I guess I didn't get it right away, but after 10 minutes or so, I realized, oh no. Now, this is not because they want to date. This is just they would try to tell you to get into a gang or to, be their slave, but it's a lot easier to just pretend that you are attracted to somebody and get in a relationship, and you have just as much control over their life. But anyways, then when I got up, there's a bunch of business cards, and I took a ton of them. And there's some that might be significant, but I'm not going through those now. It's late, and I'm tired. I have to get up really early to get this free breakfast. To get this free breakfast at the church that's full of enemies. And I really don't know if the pastor, I don't think he really likes me, because he knows I'm going to tell him, I told him not to eat pork. And so then he was like, okay, and he was real polite while they poisoned my coffee. So he probably knew. And so I'm just going to go back and get my free breakfast there. And we'll see. Maybe there'll be pork. Maybe there won't. But let's see what happened. Okay, after this, I stood up, got my cards, and walked around the front. And I was just looking to see, because they had a bunch of business cards. I was just checking out the place. I wasn't talking to any employees. I'm not ordering. And then there's a few people sitting there talking, and then this man, like, he's younger, but he comes and he was in the back. He must have been in the bathroom. He comes out, and there were some people there, and I said, I thought there was some event here today. And then I couldn't really tell what they said, and they said, oh, this is it right here. There was just some people sitting there, and it wasn't a poetry thing. They would just, like, they were just sitting there like, oh, yeah, if, we can have a discussion if, So it was just like there was 3 people there. They're just sitting down like they were regular customers. But then the man that came walking out, I recognized him, and I told him, because he like, we were talking about this event. I'm like, what is this? And I'm like, I recognize you. Do you play guitar? And I don't remember exactly what order I said this, but basically the soup kitchen I go to has a Facebook page. And so I went to the Facebook page and I looked at the images. And there was one picture in a video, I think, or there's a post of a man that went to the soup kitchen and played guitar for the people there. And this was the man. So he's like 30, okay? He's younger than me. But and I recognized him. Because I never forget a face. I just saw like this on a Facebook post. Like, do you play guitar? And apparently there's a mural painted on the soup kitchen too. Like him or his brother or his friend or somebody did that. Not him, or his brother or his friend or someone did that. And they had what do you call it? Not the rough draft, but like, they made like a smaller version of this painting. It was like maybe a 3x4 painting, and they made that and hung it in this coffee house, and that was the plans to paint a larger one on the side of the building, and they painted more art and murals on different. But anyways, yeah, he was the one, and then and there was 2 women there too, and there was a baby. And we just got to talk. It was a really good conversation. And we were talking for a minute. And then another man came around. He came in. I recognized. This was the man from the recovery meetings. Not at the church, but the ones at... there's a center for rehab. There's a rehab center. So then I have been seeing him a lot. I saw him at some meetings. I saw him at these classes. And then he came in. And I'm like, I know him. Oh, I met him at the church. And, oh my gosh. Oh. A lot of people at the recovery meetings normally don't talk politics, but they do when I'm there because they want to trigger me. Reese! They want to trigger me. So they mention how horrible Trump is and stuff. So, but what I heard from other people there is they normally do not talk about politics. So I know it's just because I'm there. They want to complain about Trump because I'm there, so that I'll get triggered. I'm not going to get triggered. I know what you're doing. Plus, I actually do not like the way they are making minorities, gay people, women look bad. They're not even minorities, but saying, like, the fake news that's being broadcast over and over again looks ridiculous and is making people look bad. I don't like it, and I don't want anything to do with it. So I'm actually not offended at all. Because, like, even though they're doing something that is necessary and is good, I don't like the way they're doing it. So I don't like how it looks. Like, to me, when I see this, it's also obvious. It's fake news. We have fake news. We have fake politicians. And it's just put up there in people's faces all day long. And so I don't like it. So I'm really not offended if somebody complains about Trump. I think that normally it's an attack or they're just misguided. But actually, like, it's not even really Trump. It's like all of the conservative, popular conservative YouTube channels where they grab onto a piece of fake news with some actor in it. And then they just, like, make a ton of content on some fake news over and over again that makes women look bad, or it makes black people look bad, or it makes gay people look bad. And so I don't like, this is ridiculous. It's like, the conservatives that watching this and supporting this are just as bad as the liberals. Because, like they already won, and then they just beat a dead horse, and it's so ridiculous. Like, you need to learn to win with grace. And so that is not being done. Anyways, let's see. But it was a really good conversation, actually. We're getting into a lot of stuff. Now, there 3 people there were, like, all about 30, and I'm older than them. But, like, it was a good conversation. I can't remember everything we talked about, but I was able to tell him a few spiritual things. And, like, there were things they did not like about church. And then I was able to tell him, too, like the Pharisees and the spirits that say this thing. And basically, I also was able to tell him about not eating pork. They were receiving this information about not eating pork. And that was great. It was, praise the Lord. But, like, they really did not like how churches, because they mentioned this before, so that I knew this is going to be something that'll be good to talk about. So they mentioned, like, certain churches or groups, like, bashing the LGBT community and stuff like that. So then I mentioned, like, I'm not going to this church all the time. I'm not going to the church right now because God has me go to, like, all the churches. So I have to go to all the churches and then see what's going on at each one. And then I said, like, how there's, like, Pharisees and there are evil spirits running, like, a lot of these churches. And I told him how it works. And, like, I think while I was explaining it, I got more information. Like, it came out better. So I know that they lie and oppress people. But, like, and I was also saying, like, I said it clearly says in the Bible pork is an abomination. But it does not clearly say that being gay is an abomination. It clearly says pork. So these people, I said I don't like how they're rude to gay people, and then they eat pork, and then they don't let women pray. It's, like, ridiculous. And I said, I seen this is spirits behind this. And I said how they get control by stealing power. So this is, like, a kind of a new, it's still the same idea, but it's expanded from what I said before. So yeah, it's the female spirits that push this sexist idea, but also with the other groups that they can marginalize or be rude to. Said they get control because they got to steal it from somebody else. So they steal that power from the women. They steal that power from the gay people. If you're eating pork, you're sinning. So, I mean, you can't be eating pork and telling gay people that they're sinning. I mean, you know what I'm saying. Because pork is a sin. So, I mean, that's what I mean. You can say something, but you still treat them nice, the same as you would anyone else. And that's the problem. This one church I went to, and they're like, this is horrible, and, and I know a lot of places don't like this, but we're going to stand for God's word, and it's ridiculous. Because then they don't want to hear not to eat pork. When it says, so it's just like they get power, they steal power from any other group they can, and then they take it for themselves. It's like how, it sounded better at the time. It's after midnight. But yeah, they get power by stealing it from someone else. And then this man was like, yeah, and then, like, women are, he was trying to say women were better. And he's like, well, the church has, stolen the, suppressed women and stuff. And he's saying women are better than men. And I said, we're all spiritual equal. So actually he was trying to, like, he was like, this is bad what the churches do. And women are, more better than men. I said, really? And then they're all sitting there. And I said, we're all spiritually equal. And I said that this is how they get power, is they steal it. They steal it from another group and take it for themselves. Um, so then he was kind of taken aback a little, like, because this man, like, he was like trying to be nice and stuff, and he was kind of got like a little bit of the surfer stoner, not a lot, just a little bit of that. And when he tried to like say women are better, I said we are all spiritual equal. It's like, no, we're all spiritual equal, but this is how the devils work to get their control. I did not say they pit people against each other. I just tried to say the mechanics as God shows me how it works. And to get their power, they steal it from somebody else. And we had a good conversation. I was asking about, like, places to play music or get together. And they say this coffee place is really the closest thing that we have. But it was a great conversation. And, like, talking to the women and stuff. And like, the woman that I spoke to was holding the baby. It was not her baby. Her name was the name of my childhood friend who died of cancer. And, like, we didn't know each other that long, but, it really, like, it hurt me when she died because she was such a good person. But, man, this one woman, she was, like, 30, and I think that if you took, when my friend died when she was 12 or 13, and if she came back to life and was then born again, like what I'm saying, my age is so if she was 30, so it's almost like if my friend died and then was reborn, and then she had the same name. I mean, I'm not saying this, but it could be. This is nuts. So what I'm trying to say is that this childhood friend I had, it really upset me, and I like cried when she died. And other people showed up at her funeral, but they didn't really care. I cared, but the other people didn't really care. Like the other kids at the school didn't, but I cared. And, but she died when we were like 12 or 13. And then you add that to 30, which is the age of this woman now. That's my age. So, and she said, and I said, what do you think about reincarnation? She said she had prayed and asked too. And she didn't know. She wasn't given information on reincarnation. And when she mentioned her name, it was a unique name. And I said, I had a friend when I was a kid with that same name. She's like, oh, that's weird, because nobody ever has my name. She said, no one else has this name. And I think now I'm not saying this is, but it could be. This is so wild because she was really sweet and nice, and she was healthy, and she was 30. And if you add 30 to the age that my childhood friend died, that's the age that she would be now. That's what I'm saying. Is if my childhood friend died 30 years ago, okay. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, my childhood friend, this could possibly be her again, reincarnated, which is why she didn't get the answer from God. So if she died and then just was reborn again right after, that was the right age. And when I said she had the same name, she said, no one has my name. Maybe, but she had such a nice disposition, actually. Maybe it would be like if she was never sick. I don't know. This is so wild. It could be. But I'm a lot older. I'm 12 or 13. I'm 13 years older. I'm 13. So it's almost like I'm thinking maybe this is a conspiracy. This is a theory I have now. My childhood friend died and then went into someone else's womb, like the spirit, and then was born, possibly as this woman. And it wasn't just the name being the same. But she had a really good demeanor and good disposition. And was kind. And the age was the right age and the name. Okay, anyways, see here. I don't remember what all we talked about. But then the man from the recovery meetings who didn't like Trump was there. And so we were able to talk. And then I talked about, like how everything's been corrupted and they got to strip it all away and then build new things. And I didn't say really anything about Trump. But I did say is that they're going to be healing people and having like real cures and like life extension and stuff. And so I didn't talk about Trump really. But I said that like that's like after they're going to release that stuff after Trump. So like the next leader after Trump. So I didn't mention Trump because they don't like Trump, but actually like the roundabout way, kind of explains what's going on now. So it's not him; it's the administration so much that they are getting rid of the corruption and serving justice, but they are not fixing the problems. That's what's happening now. Um, I'm sure some things are being set in motion and are ready to go. But the next administration will be the one that releases the cures and healing technologies. RFK Jr., he's cleaning up the food supply, and the Trump administration is cleaning up the government. But they're not releasing what's coming next. So their job is just to clean house. The next administration will put the new institutions in, and then the reforms and things. Let's see. So, I mean, it was just a good conversation, and I could tell, like, that people are very angry with the Trump administration. I see what they're doing, and it needs done. It's justice right now. The way we have been taken advantage of, robbed, stolen, had our health destroyed, we are getting justice for that now. But we are not restored from this. This is like Judge Judy right here, or something. And then next administration will release the real like angel technologies, life extension and healing and stuff. Shoot. Now, the exact way this is done, it could always change, so we don't know the specifics. Like, free will is involved. God does know the plan. God does know what will happen. But, like, somebody could decide, I don't want to do this, or they're going to quit, they're going to retire, or something happens. And so someone else comes in, or it's implemented a slightly different way. So, the details can change, but nothing can be restored or fixed until all of the corruption is gone and we get justice, or they'll just stay in power. So, that's what's going on. And this man from the recovery meeting was very receptive, and he agreed, and I didn't really talk about Trump. I didn't on purpose, because, like, you have to say things in a certain way, because if you believe certain lies, or, there's spirits behind these things too, or the fake news, there are things that they trigger people, and there's spells behind it. He was even talking about that too, like people collectively agree in something and it becomes like a being, and you're giving it power. And it's just like it's a spell. It's like when mainstream, or like the trends, what's on the TV, people see it and they copy it, they parrot it, and they believe it. That is a witchcraft spell. But and there are spirits behind that. But anyways, my goal is not that somebody loves Trump or not. It's not. But to understand what's happening is actually good. What's happening is that every corrupt system will be destroyed, and we'll get a clean slate to start over. That is good. But we need to, it's like a trust fall, where you trust God. And you trust when you get restored on the other side, it's going to be better than what you've left behind. So what we have now, it's working a little bit. We got some breadcrumbs. But most of the money is wasted. And a lot of people slip through the cracks and don't get the help they need. And then they're going to have to go without for a little while. We got to demolish, tear the whole systems down to zero, to nothing, to the bare ground, and then rebuild from scratch. And so, like, it sounded good at the time. I should have been asleep already. It sounded good when I said it there. Now it doesn't. But anyways, I was able to say things to kind of, like, what's going on and how it's actually, like, how it's good. In a roundabout way. They agreed. They liked it. There was no need. You don't have to worship Trump. You don't have to like Trump. To understand that, all of the corruption has to go. So we have to get rid of all of these institutions and then build new that work better. So that was what I'm saying. But they were very nice people. It was a good discussion. And we all talked and nobody got angry. And that was something that was mentioned too. The other man there mentioned that, and then I think I mentioned that too. And there's some people there probably with narcissists. Well, one woman was probably with a narcissist, and another woman was like, she was single and she wants to work on herself more before. And it's like they knew, they knew what was going on with their lives and what they had to do. They just had to make that choice, or when they were ready to move on. So that's a really good sign. So then I came home and my dogs ripped up more trash and stuff. Oh my gosh, I forgot to mention a car on the way home. Yeah, I got home. I ate a lot of food that I got at the food pantry. It wasn't great, but like, oh man, that cereal. Yeah, another thing, I went to this coffee house, and it was right next to the building where they have the church on Saturday evening. I almost forgot about it. And I saw someone walking in. I'm like, oh no, I gotta go to the church this evening too. So I had to get up early, go to the coffee house, smell the coffee, not be able to have any coffee, smell the food, and get hungry and not be able to eat. And then there was a test, seeing if I'll take the bait for a guy sitting there, not even saying anything, not even looking at me. Maybe I'll initiate something. And then when that was over, then there was the other people I was supposed to talk to, and we had a good conversation, and it was very friendly, so that was nice. And there were some others. Oh, I saw the people from Habitat for Humanity Restore. I gotta write that down. This is wild. So, Restore. That's where I got all the furniture for my house pretty much, except for the antiques that I couldn't find. So when I was in the coffee house talking to these two other people, maybe like 5 feet away were two other round tables, and there was two men sitting there. And they were at different tables, but they were next to each other. And I recognized they are from the Restore. It was the one man, when I would go and buy stuff at Restore, he was almost always there. So he's like an employee at Habitat for Humanity Restore. And this guy seemed like a pretty nice guy. And then next to him, I don't know, for anyone that really watches my videos, I made a video, this is more than a year ago now. So this is right when I first started going to Restore. There was a man who tried to hit on me, and actually he just was saying like to get a coffee or to make some friends. And he basically gave me his number, and I said, I'm kind of, I'll maybe see it in a month. And this guy, he had predator vibes to him. Kind of, it was like a beta male, but when he was activated. Like, is this guy like a rapist or something? He had like that predator thing. Actually, I didn't even say that so much as when I made the video, I thought he was like a killer. Like somebody that kills people. I seriously thought so. And now, actually, he had some things in common with the serial killer I saw. But I don't think he was that kind. I don't think he is that kind. He's a little different. Because I think this serial killer, like, got special magical powers when he murdered. And this guy was different, I think. He wasn't talking about this crazy stuff. He was more normal. But after I did not call him back, then he hid. Whenever I went to Restore, he hid in the back and he didn't come out. Well, because he had predator vibes. Not kind of similar to the serial killer, but he's not as bad. He's not as bad as the serial killer, I know. But there's something like, this guy is evil. It's kind of like beta male evil. I recognize it. And he got like really angry, like when somebody pushed a couch or something out in the aisle a little bit, and he got really mad, and then he put it back. And he didn't seem as intelligent. I'm not trying to be mean, because he came up and he was nice talking to me and stuff, but I could tell like he seemed like some type of predator, and I don't know what he does. He's like, let's get a coffee. Let's go get a coffee, and we've got lots of friends. I've got sports team, I think softball or something. It's like, and I'm like, I'm pretty busy, you know. Anyways, he was sitting at the table next to the other man at Restore, and I knew his name. Oh my gosh. And so so I was sitting with three other people, and then there was the fourth man from the recovery meetings, and we were talking, and then behind us, and I said, I recognize those people that they're from Restore, and he's like, oh yeah, and he said their names. He said the name of the guy that was the predator. He said the name, and it was the guy. Because not only did I recognize he looked the same, but it was the same name he wrote on that scrap of paper with his phone number on it. And then when he saw me there, he saw me, and he was kind of going like, how do I do it? Like kind of looking down, like he didn't want me to see. He was like kind of like this. But hold on, I can't do it. Like he was sitting at the table like this, and he was kind of like trying to hide. He was kind of like trying to hide so I wouldn't see him or something. Like this. And then he got up and he walked like to the bathroom and like trying so I wouldn't see him. So he knew who I was. And he knew I knew who he was. And he was like this, trying to hide, like, don't look. Like, trying to look down, and then he went to the bathroom and came back, and I think he left after that. So, he remembered me. I did not call him back. And when he saw me, he was like, oh no. Kind of like, don't look at me. I know, this doesn't look right. Shoot. He was sitting there at the table, and he saw me kind of hunched down a little bit, and he was going like this, so I wouldn't look at him and notice him. Of course I did, and he said his name, too. It was him. That was funny. He saw me, and then he didn't want me to see. He was trying to block his face. Then he went to the bathroom and left. So he goes to the coffee house. And he said, do you want to get he wanted to get a coffee with me. He was getting his coffee, but he was alone. He was alone. But he was hiding. See, he knew I knew he was a predator. I don't think he is as bad as a serial killer. But maybe he's one too. I don't know. I kind of thought maybe this guy is a murderer. I kind of thought he could be a murderer. And now I see where this park is. They could just dump the bodies in the lake and the rivers. There's a big river that goes through along the road. There's like a big river with rushing water and lakes. They can easily dump bodies into this. And all the homeless people and addicts, they don't even have IDs. Just kill them and dump them in that water. I bet there's a ton of dead bodies in the water. Do I need to call the police, or are they looking at this themselves? I could tell him the name of the park the serial killer brought me to. He's like, do you want to go here? I'm like, you want to see? And I'm like, yeah, I want to see this park. I do want to see this park. And I'm not stupid. He wouldn't have been able to kill me. Even if he tried, he wouldn't be able to. Because see, I already assume that I already know people are trying to kill me. So, I don't say too careful, but I know how to stand. I know how to, like, do things in a smart way, and with the eye contact and where to stand, which provides quite a bit of protection, but also, like, you have God, and you know you can cast out demons. So I didn't want to do this, but, because I'm really not sure what all is in that body. It could be a human with a demon, I kind of thought, because of multiple personalities. But, with something happening, you can call on, like, you can cast out the demons. You can also call on Jesus. and then they have to stop. So it's not like I'm afraid. But if you don't know that, you could be. I just had an idea, like maybe this guy from Restore was a killer, but I don't think he was as bad of a person. I don't think he was as bad. But I said, this guy is probably a killer. And then there he was hiding, like, yeah, you're caught. I can see you. I know who you are. And he tried to go out to a cup of coffee, but to spend $5, that's what my life is worth to you. Or Bike Man wants to pick up here's a quarter, a dirty quarter you found on the ground. You can add that to my dollar bill to get a McDonald's coffee. That's what my life is worth. Or some expired meat from the trash with some bread that had a dead mouse on it. That is what my life is worth. Like, seriously, no, I'm not going to eat that anyways, because my life is worth more than that. I mean, I wouldn't eat that if it didn't come from a serial killer. Let's see. Yeah, I had to go to church at 7 too, so I don't remember. Some other stuff probably happened. Somebody probably tried to attack me or do something on my way back. I don't remember. I did take like an hour and a half nap. It was amazing, but then I was still so tired when I got up and I didn't want to have to go. I showed up maybe like 10 minutes late. Then the man I had invited before, he was actually sent to hit on me. But actually then I invited him to the church and declined. And then someone else dropped him off at the church, and then they told him about this service on a different day. And then he was outside, and I showed up like maybe 10 minutes late or so, and he was out there. And I'm like, oh, hey. And he was out there, but he didn't know how to get where it was and how to get in. Like, oh, I'm going to lock my bike up and I'll be in. And I said, it's up on the 4th floor. And so he waited in there because he wasn't really sure where it was. And so if I didn't show up, like, he made it. He got a ride, or he walked to this church, and he was going to go to service. But it's a really big building. And then the Monday service was on the other side. And this was you had to go in different doors. So it was confusing. So then I showed up, and no one else is there, and he's there. And I'm like, oh, I'll be in a minute. I'm going to lock up my bike. And then I come in. And then we just talk a little bit, and it was nice. And go all the way up to the 4th floor, all the way down this corridor, and then all the way down the hall. And then it was a good service. And I believed that there were real messages from God in there. Now, this is the thing, though. My job is to offend people, and I will never fit in, and I don't know that I'll ever have a home in a church. But it was a good service. The last time I talked, there was 2 sisters that are the main, they are the preachers. The one I talked to the time before, she seemed like a good woman, in it for the right reason. The one I talked to today, she had some demons. So I'm saying is, I still think she had messages from the Holy Spirit. I still do. But she's still like she was trying to be nice, but she got a little angry. So I could tell she had spirits. But basically, I didn't want to have to, I'm sent to the church, and if they give people pork, and I've been slacking, I need to tell this other church, you're not allowed to eat pork. But I got to tell him not to eat pork, and if they teach other fake epistles of Paul stuff, then I got to tell him it's not right. And of course, this is the second time I was there. I liked the service. Yes, a woman tried to curse me again. She's like, I got a mint. Do you want this? I'm like, oh no, you could take it for later. No. Or I said, actually, I didn't say it that way. I said, oh, no, thank you. When I say no, that's not how I said it when I was there. She's like, oh, do you want a mint? And I'm like, oh, no, I'm okay, thanks. Just something like that. But I know it was really a cursed item. Had I taken it, there would have been a curse on me. I am not stupid. And they think this is the same woman that tried to curse me last time. Are those dimples on your face? And I said, no. And she's like, oh, I thought they were. No, they're not. They aren't. They're not, no. Oh, you mean I'm in my 40s? I'm in my 40s? Yeah. They know that I don't like that word, and I don't think I have dimples anyways, but the narcissist said that just because he wanted to annoy me. And so this woman tried to cast a spell on me so I would get them. And I said no. Anyways, tried to give me a mint. What would have happened had I taken this mint? Like, what kind of spell was attached to a 5-cent mint? That's what I mean. That's how cheap they are. What, you want me to curse myself for 5 cents? Like, seriously? Um, you want me to curse myself for 5 cents? No. It's cold now. So, when the strings are cold, they hurt my fingers more. So, a woman did try to curse me. Actually, when I walked in, there were some people like, oh, hi, Jennifer. And there's a couple of them. And one of them tried to curse me, I think. There's 3 women I recognized from last time, but we didn't talk or anything. And so maybe 2 of them did not try to curse me, but one did, and so there was a witch in there. And then they already know there's witches in there and stuff, like warlocks. Warlock is a male witch. They'll be in there, but they let them come. They don't stop them. They allow people to have free will. And, I agree, and I can see that. That's good. But they try to curse me. I did want them in, so did I when I said no thank you? No, because I was just trying to stop the curse without being offensive. Yeah, I would like a mint, but I don't want to be cursed. Like, what? So, for 5 cents, what is going to happen to me? Anyways, let's see. And they had a couple of good messages during the service, like, they would rather wear out than rust out, like, busy going, like, every other place, tired, but that's better than just sitting at home doing nothing and wasting your life. That's what you do when you're with the devil, is you waste your life. You're with a narcissist, you waste away, and you don't get to be used. And they also said, I would rather starve for God than fatten up for the devil. That is right. And they mentioned the last time and this time. And the woman was like, I would be careful what I say. There are religions where they teach their children to die for religion. They should have said to die for God. And then we won't even tell them to go to church. But yeah, like that, kind of yes and no. They don't really tell them to die for. They don't really say that. Okay, they don't actually say that. But yeah, they're much more serious about religion. And then in this service, she said that she was talking about starving for God, and that was good, and people agreed. So I'd say, like, if everybody had that zeal, which they mentioned, that would be good. But God doesn't want us to starve. We go through a period of lack, but then we are given abundance after that. So it's like the trust fall. Strip everything away, then you're restored, and everything is rebuilt. So, yeah, you do starve for God, and then God gives you, what do you call, like a buffet afterwards. So, that was almost saying something good about Islam, because I know that's what she's saying, but actually, you're not supposed to tell your children to go and die for God. The Muslims don't say that. They do not say that. There are political things, and poverty is the reason behind a lot of proxy warfare. And but actually, when it talks about warfare, you're not to aggress. You're not to start the fight. But if somebody attacks you, you attack them the same way. And if you don't, they're not going to stop. They're going to keep coming. And once you attack them back the same way, then they know they have to stop if they want the attack to stop. But you only fight defensively. And it says oppression is better than death. So it was a good service, but then they brought up people with children this time. And so the other woman was speaking. So the one I spoke to the time before I thought was a good woman, in there for the right reason. And this woman here might be good too, and also getting messages from God, but not as spiritually pure. Because they brought families up to pray, and they said, and God has an order, and they talked about men leading. And then the men came up. And then when I heard that, you see, I got right here, I had to rip off a little piece of paper I had to write my Bible verse, and I had to give it to her to let her know that is false doctrine. I had to tell her. They don't, but see, they don't want to, the other woman, they probably do not even like this message, but they're teaching it, like, because why? They don't want to seem like witches? It's false doctrine. Men are not supposed to lead women. That is ridiculous. God's law is that your responsibilities are in line with your authority. So, and your authority is over what you are responsible for. So, like, if my job is to take care of dogs, then I have the authority in deciding how to do so. What is the best way to do so? But because I am doing it. Like, if it's your job, if it's your job to do something, then you have the authority over your position. You don't have authority over your husband or wife. That's not how this works. You have authority over the job you're doing. So, like, if it's just like, men are not supposed to lead women. That is not how it works. Men and women are supposed to lead together. Like, you're on the same team. You have two leaders, co-leaders, and you are leading the children. But but women are not supposed to be working a 9-to-5 job. You can if you want, but you're not supposed to. Like, so you can if you have free time and you want to, but you're really supposed to just raise children and then not have to worry about money because it's supposed to be provided to you, but you're spiritually equal and you lead with your partner. They brought this up, so I don't know how to say this. We're supposed to be stay-at-home moms, but we have spiritual authority. We are priests, we are prophets, and we lead right next to, right next to a male, but we don't tell, we're not like, we're not like getting whips and chains out and telling people what to do. That's ridiculous. They'd probably like that. But when she said this, I knew it was wrong. And I also know God showed me the spirits behind this, that use this belief, and how they use it to get power for themselves, like stealing the power. So when they mentioned this, I had to write down the Bible verse of how Paul is a Pharisee, and this verse that they're using about leading is from Paul. Actually, it's from his staff. It's not even from him. They were even less of a believer than he was, because they were coming from mainstream Pharisaical churches. That's where their beliefs came from. And they were teaching what made Jesus flip tables and angry. Okay, he wasn't just angry about the money. He was angry about other things. You might say, like medical treatments, unfair treatment of women. Probably he did not like. And there was female prophets too. There was female prophets back then. And so, a lot of people might walk into their church and see it being ran by two women and think maybe that's witches. I heard real inspired, like, prophecy, like, revelations coming out of their mouths, like the first service. And then I might have heard some, like, good stuff today. But they also covered the epistles of Paul here. So I had to correct it. But, maybe they actually like that that's not from God. But they did not, like, so it was the other woman that I didn't talk to last time. She was the one I talked to today. And so when I handed her the note, she was kind of like, she didn't want to get the note, but then she was being nice too. She was like being nice, but she'd get a little annoyed. So what I'm saying is, she was trying to be nice. But some things would annoy her and she didn't really like it. But so she wasn't evil. She wasn't evil. That's what I'm saying. But she still had some things she needed to work on. So how do I say, like, you don't have to be perfect to be good. I think that's more like what this was, because she did have messages. I believe she had messages from the Holy Spirit. But like when we were talking and a kid came up and interrupted and she got kind of mad and was like, oh, I'm busy right now. Or I don't remember, but she was kind of like that and talked sternly. I'm like, oh, if you don't have time, I can go. And she's like, oh, no, it's okay. And then, so she was a little unhappy when I gave her the paper. Like, she already knew that was a correction. or something. And I said, and I complimented the things I liked about the church. I really like how it's comfortable in here. And I told her some stuff that you said, and it was like speaking to me. And I told her that. And I said, but and I said, God sends me in, and there's certain things I gotta say. I put the Bible verse and how this is false doctrine. Men leading women is false doctrine. And I said, there's something God has me do. I give it to her. So to be clear, I mentioned this is God has me do this, and I gave it to her. I wanted to anyways, but like if it was just my opinion, no, I said God has me do this, and then she accepted. Like she already knows. She didn't want the rebuke because like what was done was good, but you could do that without saying that heresy in there. Because anyways, man, I can't even. Yeah, it was late. It was late. I didn't wait for everyone to leave. I saw the group of people that tried to get me from the soup kitchen, and they're like, "Oh, hey, hi." I saw them last night too when I was biking home. Late last night, I was biking alone, and then I was going turning on to this busy road, and they were in their car, and they're like, "Oh, hi, Jennifer." I'm like, "Hi." They saw here I am alone. There's no army. There's no one helping me. I'm like, "Oh, hey." And then when I walked in today, and they're like, and I said hello. They probably didn't expect me to be there. And then when I left, I walked past them, and so they probably don't know what to do because they're probably trying to spy and see what's going on. I just show up. I'm alone. I don't have an army. And like at the soup kitchen, it's a group of friends, or I don't know if they really like each other. It looks like they like each other and they're friends, but maybe if they're all if they're all witches and warlocks, I don't know. I think so. But they're just all on the same team, and they're trying to get information. So maybe they don't really want to see me like fall, but they're trying to gather data. And they just see me alone, and then here I was out. They didn't know where I was supposed to be, and I'm alone. And then like at the soup kitchen, it's like, you shouldn't tell people you live alone. I'm like, they all know I live alone. It's fine. Yeah, I live alone. And then but the thing is, I'm like gone all day. And so, yeah, I walked past them on the way out, say goodbye, and then I just left on my own. I didn't need a ride. Oh, it was so cold. It was horrible. It was so, I double gloved it. It was so cold. I think it makes my legs more sore when I bike too. Like I'm still under the weather, but just being so cold, and then a car, I don't know if it looked like maybe they were trying to hit me or menace me or something. Because, like, I was biking, and then there was a car stopped here in front of, like, a stop sign. And then they were stopped, and then I was going across, and they saw me. They waited for me to be going in front of them. And then they started to come out like they were going to hit me. And then, oh my gosh, this is what. So, the bike that I'm using, was a bike that Bike Man got out of the trash. So he found it in the garbage. And so when he was going to sell it to me for $7.50 anyways. And he said, I don't need the money right now. But anyways, I needed the bike. He knew this. He popped the tire on my other bike to make sure I got this one. But anyways, the brakes were completely off, and I had to bring the bike in the house and mess with it for like an hour and try to get the seat somewhat usable and get the brakes on there. And then I put like little zip ties around it to keep them on. So it's very ghetto looking, or hillbilly looking, or something. I don't know. But anyways, the brake on one side is like sideways and it's straight up on the other. Because I didn't loosen it up. I don't know if I have the right wrench. If I do, I didn't want to dig through them. So anyways, one brake is like this, one brake is like that. And so the brake that I would brake with, because they know this hand, I got a plastic bag that I tie on my handlebar. I put my stuff in. And I kind of hold onto that to keep it in place too. And I really just brake more with my other hand. Now, they spy on me. They know this. I can brake with the other hand, but I tend to just kind of keep my hand on the bag and brake with the other hand. And so this car was stopped at a stop sign as I'm going through. And then right when I'm in front of them, then they start going like they're going to hit me. And then I went to hit my brake, and my brake had been swiveled down more. So that when I went to squeeze the brake, there was no brake to squeeze. And I'm like, huh. And I kept coasting. And I went slow. They didn't hit me, but they got close. They like zipped right in front of me like they were going to hit me. And then I went to squeeze my brake, and my brake handle had been moved. It was swiveled down so I couldn't reach it. I mean, this was an attack. Of course, this was an attack. So is this another attempted murder? But actually, maybe this was good, because, like, excuse me. Maybe this was good, because I was going to brake, and that would make me look like a wuss. But instead, I went to squeeze the brake, and the brake wasn't where it was supposed to be. The brake wasn't there, so I couldn't brake, and I just kept going. And then they got real close, but they didn't hit me. So it actually looked like I wasn't a chicken. So if I had braked, it would look like they won, but I didn't brake. So it looked like, I didn't care. So that was good. Got home, ate half a box of this cereal, which I did want. This cereal is not normal Fruit Loops. They only have a few colors. They put yellow cornmeal so that they don't need to put all the colors in. Like, they can save money on dye. And then there's like purple, and so there's not as many colors as like Fruit Loops. Yeah. There's like orange, yellow, purple, and green. And the yellow is the color of the cornmeal. So, but it's like cornmeal, sugar, wheat flour, and this is not healthy. I'm feeling kind of sick now after eating this. I don't know. Had I milk, I would have enjoyed it if I had milk, but I don't have. They were supposed to give me milk. I didn't get milk for some reason. Anyways, yeah, a car like sped out like they were gonna hit me, and they probably were supposed to hit me, but maybe they got afraid. This is kind of what I'm thinking. I'm kind of thinking this person was sent to hit me with their vehicle, and then they chickened out. And I couldn't even brake if I wanted to, because my brake had been moved, and my other hand wasn't on. So there's a regular handle, and then there's a brake handle. My other hand was just on the regular handle with the bag. So, I couldn't brake. I went to brake, and then, there's no brake here. So I swiveled it back up after that, but like the way I didn't react and I didn't brake, it made them look like a loser, I guess. And then there was like an ambulance or something coming, so I think the cars all had to stop. I don't know what kind of karma this person is going to get. God sends karma when people do this stuff to me, and it's like instant karma. So like right after this, so there was a stop sign, then there's another block to an actual light. And then they zipped out in front of me, almost hit me. It was on purpose. It's like they were trying to hit me, or they wanted to scare me. So they come out right in front of me, and then a block up is the red light. And then they go to that light. Then I hear sirens, and then there's like an ambulance or something coming. So I don't know, like maybe they got stuck behind I don't know what kind of karma. That's not enough karma for what they did. That's not enough karma. I got home, my dogs wrecked more stuff. They had chewed up my favorite gloves today. I like those gloves. They're ruined. Look, when it's really cold, my very warmest pair of gloves got ruined, and then they also just dropped them on the part of the floor that's disgusting with mold and poop on it. And so I can't even use it. I could have fixed them if they didn't bring them onto the dirty carpet that's on top of mold and dog shit. Like, that's where they dropped my glove. And I don't have a washing machine here to wash it, so. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But so anyways, the man who went to this church service today, and he talked to me a little bit at the end while they were still doing family prayers, and before the end of the service. And apparently, like, he's got a bunch of kids, but they don't live nearby. But one of his daughters was going to pick him up, so he might be leaving town soon. So maybe he was just brought in here for a short period of time, staying with someone else, sent to try to get me. And then if it doesn't work, in 2 weeks, then he's gone. So this is kind of, oh my gosh, he showed me. I gotta write this down. He showed me his phone because we were sitting a couple seats apart. Um, he tried to ask me again today. Um, so, um, so basically, this man, his name is the name of an angel. He has an angel name too, but he was talking kind of quiet, and I couldn't hear it too well. I was like, what are you saying? But anyways, like, he mentioned how his daughter was gonna come pick him up, and he showed me the text so that I would believe it. His daughter was gonna pick him up in a couple weeks, and then he might be gone, going out of state or to a new town. And so and so he's not living in a house now. He's staying with someone else. So I think he was brought in and to try to hit on me or to try to get me. And if it worked, he would live here. But if it doesn't work, then he's leaving. Yeah, I think that's what's going on. Well, anyways, I gotta get up at like 7. I'm not gonna get very much sleep. So, thanks for watching.